You want to get started? Teresa, are you live?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Go ahead and get started. We'll start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First thing on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Chris or Randy, or Greg or Randy, do you have anything?
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. Entertain a motion?
I'll make that motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, motion made, second. Roll call, Randy?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Okay. Agenda approved. Third thing on the agenda is Pam Gothner.
Okay, I just have a couple things. First is payroll that was distributed on September 27th for all county employees for $148,641.44.
Any questions or discussion? Randy or Greg?
No. So motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and second. Vote roll call. Greg?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
Also vote aye. Carried 3-0.
Okay, next I have our claims for dated today, October the 4th, to go out for all county bills. County general was $429,777.75. Highway was $2,051,659.43. Advances of $1,599.39 for a total of $2,483,036.57.
What was the advances?
It was telephone.
Okay.
We have to pay those out early before what the date on the bill is, so we always have to advance that out.
Any other questions or discussion?
So motion to approve.
All right.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made and second. Vote roll call. Greg?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
Also vote aye. Motion made, second, carried 3-0.
And that's all I have.
Hold up here. Steve Howe, Highway Department, next on the agenda.
All I have is an application cut right away. It's in Barkhamsted on Windsor Road. Jago Holmes out of Henderson and Owensboro's doing the work. They've got a plumber that does all their work. I've talked to them and feel pretty confident they'll do what they're supposed to do. I explained the process to them, and I don't think there'll be a problem with it, but I wanted to get you guys' approval on it.
Okay. I mean, you'll inspect it once.
Yes, yes.
That's pretty routine.
Yeah.
A couple times a year you do that.
Yeah.
I'm good with it. I will have a motion on
Mhm.
it. I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made and second. Roll call, Randy?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Also vote aye. So, motion made, carried 3-0.
Thank you, guys.
Is it just mine? Or?
Thanks for all three of you.
Yeah. I don't remember how that was. Okay, next thing on the agenda, Don Farina?
Yeah,
Okay,
you
with,
got it close.
huh?
I said you got close enough.
Okay, you come up and, introduce yourself and who you're with.
I'm Don Farina. Some people know me from the Barbecue Brawl, but I'm actually the director for the Legion Riders here in town. It is part of the American Legion. Our Legion post has been here for many years, as most of you know, but we have never had a charter for the Legion Riders, which is pretty much a group of motorcycle lovers and veterans that ride together. We raise money for charities, for people who need it in the community, veterans that need help, is kind of what we do. I printed these out. If you guys want to pass those down, it kind of gives you an idea of what we do a little better than what I can explain it. But what we're going to try and do with the riders is we want to get more younger veterans involved with the Legion for the most part, because as you guys know, the Legion is an older crowd, and unfortunately if we don't get the younger veterans involved, there won't be a Legion. It is that simple. Our funeral director, for example, right now, he's 80 years old. So we don't know how much longer he can carry on. They're trying to teach me into doing it. I'm one of the younger members, and I truly believe in this. Right now, we have just started the charter. I went up Saturday and got it, so we are officially, Legion Riders of Post 218, or Post 213, sorry. They've never had one, so we're trying to get everything figured out and where to go with it. One thing we are doing, like to get the word out on the 23rd of this month, we're going to have chicken dinners we're going to be selling down there, and we want people to come out, check it out, see what we got to offer. And then this Friday, public come down every Friday at the Legion. We have a jackpot drawing and a half pot drawing, which we have a sign out front. I don't know how much people pay attention to it, but it's there. We're actually going to be doing the official ceremonies of presenting the charter to the Legion and making it all official that it's here in Perry County. The thing about this is that people don't understand where the big deal comes in at is that the charter, it stays here forever now. It never leaves the Legion of Tell City. The riders may leave. We may say, well, we're going to go somewhere else, but we plan on staying. We don't plan on going anywhere. I don't make this thing last for a long time. But that's where I need help, and that's why I'm here, to get the word out that, we're here in town now, and anybody who wants to sign up, all they have to do is come down to the Legion. It can be any veteran, son of a veteran, daughter of a veteran. If you had a grandfather, grandmother, great-grandparent, you can sign up for the Legion now. They open the books up big time to get more members involved and get more of the community involved with it. And that's what we're trying to do with this, because I know we have a lot of motorcycle riders in the county and throughout the area. And there was, from what I understand, a lot of veterans who did ride, but they didn't have a Legion Riders charter to go to here, so they went to like Jasper, Ferdinand, the surrounding different counties that had one. So I've been working very hard over the last 6 months to try and get this going, and it finally happened. So I'm pretty proud of that fact. But you guys got any questions? Maybe I can answer. Try to anyway.
No, appreciate the work you do for charities.
Well, thank you.
I met Don, about 3 weeks ago over at St. Meinrad.
Yep.
And he was telling me his story, and I suggested him bring it to the commissioners here to get the word out. So I'm glad you did, and I think it's very important what you're doing for the veterans, because we as the county support them 100%, everything they did for us.
I appreciate it.
So, and I hope the community, and I know they do, support you too and everything, so.
Like I said, if you guys know anybody who wants to sign up, that's our main thing right now. We need more. We have 13 members of the Legion Riders. So if you see us out riding around town, don't be scared. Come up, say hi. We're not going to hurt nobody, I promise. I know they see big bad bikers with vests on and they, oh my God, there's a bunch of bikers. It's okay. And the good thing about it is, with the charter, now like I said, I was just in Indianapolis at the national conference Saturday getting the charter. I had to go stand up and give a big old speech with it. But they are actually going to put us in the route now when they do other runs with the Legions in the area and the other Legion Riders. So it's going to bring people to the county, to the community. So it's a big growing opportunity. I just need to help getting the word out. Like I said, that's pretty much what I'm here for. Because I know a lot of people watch y'all, and it's like, if I can get the word out about this, I think we can make it really good. But I just need help getting the word out right now. So that's about all I got. But
Everything you did.
Well, thank you.
Getting the charter together and everything, I'm sure that wasn't easy, so I appreciate that.
Well, it's been tried. My assistant director, Randy Brown, he has tried 4 different times to get it together. And it just kind of fell apart. And I think, like I said at the beginning, a lot of people, they look at the Legion and they go, oh, that's just an old man, bunch of old men sitting around a bar drinking beer. We don't want to go in there. They're crumpy, they're crabby. We're trying to change that to where people see it's actually a place where you can come hang out and have a good time. But I need help getting that word out. So you're going to see a lot more of us. I just hope y'all see something where we got something going on. Please stop, participate, come in and see us next year. We're planning on, don't know the date yet. We haven't got any dates set in stone. I do know that if there is any veteran that rides, on the 30th we are having a ride, just a fun ride to go ride up. I think we're riding a Corden and back around just to go ride and go have some dinner. And like I said, the 23rd's chicken dinner. Now next year we're planning on a couple bike nights on Saturday nights, but I'm not sure what those days are yet. We haven't got all that set in stone. But other than that,
Do you want to say any contact information in case there's somebody out there listening?
yeah, they can call me or call the Legion. My number, I'm Don Farina, by the way, and it's 812-619-1044. Or you can just reach out to the Tell City Post, and they'll be happy to pass your information on to me. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Chris Gothner, County Attorney. a couple resolutions.
Yeah, I've got two resolutions here. One of them, you guys have copies of them. One of them establishes a policy for participating by electronic means. The state legislature made some changes in the law as it relates to electronic. It used to be any commissioners meeting or council meeting or anything like that had to be 100% attended in person. Obviously, given where we've been the last 18 months or 2 years now, that's become more difficult. Thankfully, we've not had to meet remotely for quite some time, but if someone were to be quarantined or have some issues where they couldn't attend, if we have a written policy on how you attend, then we can do it remotely. There are rules that this resolution establishes, and it follows the state law. So essentially, if a person attends remotely, everybody has to be able to hear each other and communicate with each other, so it can't be a one-way communication. The public also has to be allowed, except for executive sessions, of course, has to be allowed to attend either in person or remotely. If you're doing it entirely remotely, of course, they can be able to attend remotely. And in this particular case with us, since there's only 3 of you, there has to be a quorum in person. So that means 2 of you always have to be in person. Now, the exception to this is as long as the governor declares an emergency like we have now, you can still meet remotely. But when and if that ever gets lifted and things calm down, then in that particular case, as long as 2 of you are here in person, 1 of you can participate remotely by telephone or video or whatever the case might be. They do count towards the quorum. They are allowed to vote, and there has to be a roll call vote, which we do anyway. Section 3 talks about 50% must be present physically. Well, that's in our case that's 2 of the 3. You cannot attend more than 50% of your meetings in a calendar year electronically, unless you're in the military service. So if you're, in the National Guard and you get sent away or something, then you can attend more than 50%. Illness or medical condition, death of a relative, or an emergency involving actual or threatened injury to persons or property. So this is not a situation where you can just decide you don't want to put up with everybody. So you're going to start attending remotely. You have to have a reason to do that more than 50% of the time.
Hey, Chris, what if you'd be out of town on other business?
Counts.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see what else here. Anything else that I need to bring up here?
2 consecutive?
Yeah, you may attend 2 consecutive meetings by electronic communications, but no more than that. So if you attend 2 remotely, the next one you have to be here in person. Then you can do it again up to the 50% max, unless you've got the exceptions that I already talked about.
And you can only vote if you're seen and heard.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, let me look at that.
Section 2B.
You have to,
Yeah, I
to
meant
be
to
able
say
to
that.
vote, you have to be seen.
I meant to say that.
Okay.
Yeah, it has to be seen and heard, so
So you'd have to set up.
we need to set up some kind of a Zoom
See.
meeting or something like that where everybody can see you.
Be by Zoom.
Which we've done before, we could do if we need to.
Well, that's the way we do it, the Indiana 15.
I mean, the point here is, there are a lot of restrictions here because it's better to be in person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Public meetings need to be attended publicly and done in person, but there are good reasons and legitimate reasons why we may need to attend remotely on occasion. You couldn't do that before, and so now it allows you to do that. As y'all can hear in the public out there, there are a lot of restrictions here to make sure we're all staying honest and doing this the right way. So it's my understanding this is a very similar, if not the same type policy as Tell City has passed for their city council meetings. And I think, I don't want to speak for the council, I thought the council was also considering something like this.
Pretty sure they did something very similar.
I can't remember if they actually passed it or not, I don't work with them, but if they do, it'll be very similar to this. So that's that resolution for your consideration.
The, in section 5, item 6, you have exercising council's power for eminent domain, should that be changed? commission.
Yes, it should.
Just-
Yep, there's a typo in there where it says, exercise the, should say the commissioner's power of eminent domain. So there are,
Oops. Excuse me.
and I'm glad you brought that up, Tom, there are a list of types of meetings that you cannot do remotely. You've all got to be here, adopting the budget, which we don't do. Making a reduction in personnel, initiating a referendum, imposing or increasing a fee or a penalty, eminent domain, which you just mentioned, or establishing a tax, which we don't do either. That's a generic list that applies to some things and not others, so we don't, you all are not the taxing entity the council is. And that's it.
Okay, do you need to add the part about scenes before we?
It's in there on two B at the very last.
Okay,
It's actually repeated again later on too.
Yeah, it is, it's,
okay,
somewhere else.
It's in there.
okay.
So if you vote to approve it, I would suggest you vote to approve it as amended with the commissioners in place of council.
I'll change the two conditions.
So it's ready for you to consider.
Any discussion?
No, I think I'm okay with it.
It's pretty standard from what I've seen in other entities.
And there's things in there to keep you from abusing it. That's the key,
Yes.
you know, you just don't, I don't think any of us would abuse it, but it's just.
That's right.
It's regulated, so.
Hmm.
And if we're the first ones, like, I don't know if we're the first, if the council has or not, but, you know, just to make sure that we
No, I'm sorry, that's not.
have those things. in
They
there.
have not.
They have not.
No, it's never even been brought up yet.
I know Luke was looking at it at one point, but I don't
Okay.
know if we're down the road yet or not.
No.
Now, does this resolution cover all, like, or does everybody?
No, this only covers you all.
Just us.
Okay.
So any body needs to pass it. So
Like
the council would need to,
redevelopment and all that would
development,
be-
yeah, they would need to pass it.
Mhm.
I think there are some, I haven't looked at this specifically yet, but I think there are some circumstances where they can just vote to adopt what you've already done. They don't have to adopt the act, you know, they don't have to go through and do a new resolution. They can just say, hey, we'll do what the commissioners are doing,
Oh, that's
kind of a
good.
thing, yeah.
Well, then it's very good that we have the other restrictions in there too, in case.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
It would have been nice to have for like the recycle board or the last time, because Charlie could have joined us. He couldn't join us because.
Correct.
Unless you're considering a,
Joined us.
yeah,
So,
a budget or something then.
yeah, no, it wasn't one like that.
Okay, then yes.
I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm all right with motioning to approve it, to tell you the truth.
I'm good too, and I'll second your motion.
As amended?
As
As
amended.
Amended. Motion made, second, roll call vote. Greg?
Aye.
Randy?
Aye.
Motion made, second, carried 3-0.
All right, the next one is also a new requirement from state law. The legislature, at the last session, passed a law which the governor vetoed and the legislature overrode his veto. And that was on placing certain restrictions on the declaration of emergencies and public health emergencies and all. But as part of that, what they did, what the legislature did was set up a process where if a local health board or department makes certain declarations or like a mandate or something like that, that can be appealed to court, but it can also be appealed to the commissioners. And we are required under Indiana law, all commissioners, all boards of commissioners are required to adopt a policy to lay out how the appeal works. And it's a public policy, of course. And so I want to walk through this real quick so everybody kind of understands.
Chris, can I ask one question for you?
Yeah.
It is also restricted to enforcement action, not.
That is correct.
Not the mandate itself, but they.
It's the enforcement
They
action.
enforce something, and so now there's a penalty or whatever, and now they want to appeal.
That is correct.
Okay.
They apply to an appeal of an enforcement action issued by the health department board or health department officer, health officer, under certain statutes here. The appeal must be submitted in writing, no later than 7 days after the enforcement action started. It has to have information, contact information, names, the reasons why they think the enforcement action is not appropriate, contrary to law, a copy of the notice that was given to them by the health department, And if there are multiple enforcement actions, you guys can consolidate those into one to have one hearing instead of multiple hearings if you want to. Once the notice comes in, the county administrator is going to notify all three of you of the notice of the appeal and put it on the agenda for the next meeting or a special meeting. They must be held within 15 days of the filing of the notice. You all meet every 15 days basically, so it would rarely, if ever, if this happens, would have to be a special meeting. At that meeting, you don't have the hearing at that meeting, that's just your meeting where you decide if you want to hear it. The commissioners do not have to hear this appeal. They can decide, no, I don't want to hear it, in which case the appellant, the person making the appeal, would have to go straight to court. But if the commissioners vote to hear the appeal, then it will be a public hearing held within 15 days, calendar days, of the time you decide. So if tonight you decided to hear an appeal, there's a public hearing 15 days from now. It goes on the meeting agenda. We send notice to the person who's filing the appeal and to the health department. Everybody comes to the meeting. The procedures are, the appellant has to be present. The appellant is the person filing the appeal. So the person filing the appeal must be here. They have the burden of showing that what action was taken was unlawful or improper. And when you consider the evidence, you're supposed to give deference to the health officer and health department. But that doesn't mean you have to go their way, that's deference. So it's a rebuttable presumption, which means if there's evidence that something was done contrary to law, then you can take that into good account. It's an informal process. The president would be, or his designee, or her designee would be the judge, so to speak, who kind of handles the hearing. It could be the county attorney, it could be you, it could be whomever. Proceedings are, the health department explains what they did. The person who appeals presents their evidence as to why they don't think that's proper. Health department gets a chance to respond back. And that goes back and forth for a while until everybody's said their piece. You all can ask questions. They can present witnesses to give their side of the story as why they think something was wrong or rightly done. Then you have to have a vote in public within 15 days after the date of the hearing. So you can consider it right then, or you can sit on it, think about it, come back to the next meeting and have a vote. And you have to issue a decision in writing and give it to both parties. If they like your decision, fine. If they don't like your decision, they can appeal it to court anyway. So it's just a step that the state legislature has seen fit to add. I'm not sure why, but they did. So we are required to adopt policies, and
So if the
that's them.
commissioners rule to not enforce whatever the complaint was, and that's the end of it? Is that the way I read that?
I believe the health department can appeal as well if
They
they
can?
want to.
Okay. I didn't catch that in this.
This is all from SB 5, right?
Correct. That's, yes, Senate Bill 5 is the name of the law that was passed.
Well, I think it's necessary for people to be heard and have an appeal process. I mean,
But it's a requirement of SB 5 for us to have
Right.
an appeal process.
right, that's what I'm saying. I agree with
This
this.
is putting it in place finally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I hope we don't have to use it.
Right, right. And,
And this applies to all emergency, not just this particular.
Oh, that's
thing,
correct.
right?
It's any public health emergency is declared.
Mhm. Discussion?
I read through it, I don't have a issue with it.
Yeah, I'm okay, too, so.
Okay, entertain a motion.
So motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion made, second. Do our roll call, Greg?
Aye.
Randy?
All right.
I also vote aye. Motion made, second, carried, 3-0.
I think they're both there. And that is all I have.
Okay. All right. If we don't do this now, we forget. All right, next thing on the agenda is an animal control contract, and I will let Greg explain that.
Sure. This is the same contract I sent y'all when I sent it to Chris for legal review. And I think you didn't find anything really except for the one suggestion, which we fixed.
Not much, no, it was good, it was a good contract.
And they, basically, it's, from my understanding, it's going to be approved by the Harrison County probably, that, you know, they're just like us, they can't, there's only 3 of them, they can't say for sure until they meet either, but the feeling is that they'll be okay with it as well. But basically what it puts in place is a way for the animal control officers that they have in Harrison County to actually be able to come and support officers here whenever they need it. The way that it works is dispatch would basically call April, who then dispatches the animal control officer from Harrison County to come here, you know, once it's requested. And once they get here, it's a $275 fee, but that is not an hourly, that's a round trip, one time, come here, do whatever they could be here, 8 hours, 10 hours, or 2 hours, or whatever it takes for that one incident. And if they have 3 cats or 4 dogs or whatever it is in that incident, they actually will, if they're strays or whatever, and they need to be housed, they will actually take them back to Harrison County and house them for us. There is no additional fee for that either. That's all included in the $275. They also have the ability to quarantine a dog for us. If we have a dog that's bit someone and we need to enforce the 10-day quarantine, they will actually take the dog to Harrison County and shelter it there. So.
For a flat $100.
For a flat $100, yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. So, to me, it's a really good deal on our part. It actually, talking to April, it also helps them out because the costs balance them out too. So it's a good thing for both counties. Looking through it, I don't see anything that I disagree with. There's termination clauses in here too, you know, for 30 days or whatever. So if something happens, we can always terminate as well. But to me, it is a nice patch for where we're at now. It's not a long-term solution, but it's a nice Band-Aid or patch, or however you want to say it, for our current situation to get us through. And $275 and $100, I don't think you can beat those prices, to tell you the truth. I'm not going to try to haggle over that, because that's awesome to me. So.
Greg, their contact here will only be dispatched, correct? That's who they
They'll
will be.
dispatch the way they want it, and we'll talk through those things. That's not necessarily in the contract, but what they want is basically dispatch to call them, because that makes it easier for them. It's a single point of contact. They're able to relay messages over the radio. Hey, I'm here, I'm almost there, all that kind of stuff. So that's the reason why they want that kind of thing.
But it's not in the contract.
That's not in the contract. There will have to be some policies and stuff made around this too, once we.
I could see that being really important to keep
Yeah,
confusion.
Yeah. There needs to be that single point of contact, like you guys, that basically allow us to do that. So that way, whether it's a county officer or whether it's a Tell City police officer or whoever, they know where to direct them and all that kind of stuff.
Do we need to put that in there?
What's that?
It would have to be a law enforcement officer, correct?
Correct. You have to have law enforcement, because
Right.
anytime you're doing this, you know how it is. Sometimes it can get a little agitated. I guess is the best way to have it.
dispatch, so you guys don't have, you can pay it.
Right.
Dispatch is your
Right.
point of contact.
Yeah.
So, do we need to add that aspect to this contract, that it had single point contact?
I don't think it would be hard to do. That would bother me
I'm
to
wondering
do
if
it.
we should do that.
Sure.
That'd be fine. Yeah, I mean, the fact is that in order for the county to know to pay the bills, an appropriate bill to be paid, it needs to come through dispatch, so the county knows.
Be record
Yeah,
tracking.
Right.
yeah, and like you said, it's a temporary measure, hopefully at some point.
I would just-
They don't need the county control officers coming here and dealing with 4 or 5 different people.
No.
They need just one contact, law enforcement officer, do what they gotta do, and go back to Harrison County.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what.
That, it also allows for, like, if you have a law enforcement officer that's on the scene and they're like, I can handle this,
Yes.
they can handle it. You know, they don't have to call her. They don't have to dispatch that. They can make that decision and call dispatch or not.
Yeah, if there's a stray and it's just tame stray, it's got a collar and they
Yeah.
get it, take it to the house, it's
Well,
fine.
if it's something they can handle, they can handle it, you know?
Right.
And that's also why the pins, oh, there's Jim. That's why the pins are important too, because then that gives us 3 places to put dogs. If an officer does handle it and needs to shelter them temporarily,
Time,
that allows them able to come down and.
right, because she's not waiting, sitting around waiting for a call.
Yeah, yeah.
Where is she located at?
Harrison County, yeah.
You have a question?
Yeah, I want to know when the moon changes and you have like 3 or 4 trips back and forth from Harrison County in one day. That's going to add
It will.
up.
Yeah.
That's going to add up.
That's why
And
we
it's
talked
gonna
about it
happen.
being a temporary and needs to be managed.
Yes,
Uh,
because they could get back home and get another call and you're going to have to pay your 200 and whatever. Get back home and another call and another 200 whatever, and it's going on up.
It's better than nothing though.
That's-
Well, it's better than nothing, yes.
That's where the holding pen will help us out, what Jim was talking about the last couple meetings, that we can at least hold it and maybe time they get here, correct me if I'm wrong, if they have 2, it's $275.
That's correct.
no, They turn around and come right back.
If they pick 2 up when they're here, it's $275, but if they have to come back, it's another
Right, there's no
$275.
limit in this on the number
Right.
per, no, up to 5, wasn't it?
Well, they can take up to 5 in their current vehicle, that's correct.
Yeah.
There's no limit to contract, it's strictly a
No,
matter of
there's
their
no
physical
limit.
ability to.
Oh, I didn't think
Carry
you saw
the
anything in there
animals.
about that.
And that's 5 dogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you clarify which fund that,
That's what's
I mean,
on
I'm
this.
assuming these bills will be coming to the commissioner's office.
Well, we have $35,000 in the current budget for the animal shelter.
Animal shelter?
Yeah,
So
so I'm
we-
assuming we can either use that fund or have council move it to a fund that we can use it for.
Yeah,
We
we've
just need to
got,
move it to a different line item.
we've got the animal,
It's in animal, it's shelter contract is what it's in.
Because it hasn't
so-
been touched, right, Dan, that 35?
No.
So sure, we can do some maneuvering for that is what I'm thinking.
Well, we have the other fund too, that,
Yep.
Building fund?
you know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have that where they're paying the rent.
yes. yes. My
Which
question
one-
is, I
And
know
that's where we
there's,
need to know which one are we paying, do we
Right.
start?
either one, because the fund Pam's talking about, the express purpose of that fund is for animal control services.
That's the only thing it can be used.
Yeah.
yes,
That's not the exact
Building
wording, it's
fund.
animal shelter and animal
animal welfare.
welfare, yeah, or something like
Right.
that. But that, the idea is, that's what it's for.
Is that where you want us to start it from that one first?
I think that would be the
Yeah,
appropriate.
because
one.
that's the one that gets the rent put in every month, right?
That's
So
right.
it kinda adds to
If you
it.
dwindle away at that 35,000 for animal shelter, then that's not fair to that effort. That's the way I see it.
Okay, okay, from one to the
And I highly suggest we ask council's advice on that one too.
Yeah,
County council should put their weight in that as well, so.
Yes, yes.
Once we get this done, Greg, we meet with probably Tell City Police, Canton, and myself, or Eric, get with you, we can put something together, get it out to all of our guys.
Yeah, we'll bring April down here,
Okay.
or we'll go to April, one of the two.
Okay.
And we'll hash out, protocol, right?
Yes,
So-
yes, because we just need to know to get it out to the guys and girls, so they understand what we're supposed to do, so that'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That'll work out well.
Okay.
She needs to be deeply involved in that though, so.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I'd like to bring her down here because I would like to take her to see the pins and tell her what we're gonna do with the pins, and make
Okay.
sure that she's okay with that as well.
Yeah, that'd be, thank you.
Yep.
Well, we want to add the single point of
Yeah.
contact.
I was looking where the best place is.
Section 2, letter I, maybe?
That's what I was looking at.
Or J? It's
We'll
got
add a
I.
J. I thought we would add a J that says something to the effect of that they will only respond to calls or contacts from the dispatch services.
That sounds good.
Mhm.
Any others?
I'll entertain a motion, accept the contract.
I'll motion to approve the contract with the addition of J to section 2.
And I'll second that.
Okay, motion made and second. Roll call. Greg?
Aye.
Randy?
All right.
Also vote aye. Motion made, second, carried 3-0.
Can I just add something to it? I just want to update you a little bit. I got
It's updated from the audience.
We have part of the gutter.
Can you
Can you come up to the
We actually had a few viewers actually ask us to have you introduce yourself and stuff too.
I didn't take my chair tall today, so there's a few things I want to say.
Introduce yourself, please.
Jim Carter. I know most of you, except we have
Well,
new
there's
people in the county.
online that don't know everybody, so they asked if we'd have you do that.
Okay, Jim Carter. I just want to update to you, I'm getting all of the cost for the roofing. I'm getting that ready to get those quotes to Pam, so she'll have the cost, actual cost and paper, so she'll know exactly what it is, and I'm going to make sure you get a copy there. She'll give a copy to that. Second thing, I talked to a gutter person actually today, and he's going to, and I talked to him about that part of that gutter that's down, and he said he would volunteer and donate fixing the gutters for us. I told him, I said, I think that is not the standard gutter, but if he's got the parts, he's going to fix that 20-foot section that's down and donate that to us. So we're working on that. The second thing I want to talk about, but not until next year, because I just want to give you a hint. In a long range, we're going to need a proper revenue to be able to handle animal control. And I remember all the way back to 2000, December in 2000, they eliminated Section 2, which eliminated the licensing. But they eliminated the whole Section 2, and they didn't have to eliminate the whole Section 2, because part of that was not licensing. But what I'm saying is, I want you to think about this. I'm hoping that the legislature changed the way Title VI is, and Chris is well aware of Title VI. Is it 6939?
You got me.
Okay. Well, the reason why Section 2 was eliminated was because the Indiana legislature passed the Indiana county option dog tax, and that's under Title VI, 939.
That is, yes.
Dash 9. Okay, so
But just to explain, there's no tax or taxes can be imposed until the council passes the county option dog tax. That's what that says.
well, yes, but it's for licensing systems. The actual reading of that is exactly states licensing systems. But you can also, you eliminated the whole Section 2, but permits is still allowed, and you eliminated all of the
You have to charge for permits, and that's part of the fiscal body, correct?
Yeah, that's not required by the fiscal body. No.
Yeah, that's the reason why.
10 years or however long it's been.
No, it's absolutely not. Permits, if you look even under ordinance, permits and licensing is under two different paragraphs. It's totally separate. I'm not trying, I'm just like I say, I'll talk to you about it in January. I want Chris to look at it heavily, because I believe, what I'm saying is, I believe we can continue with permits without having to add the county option dog tax for licensing, okay? There's two, it's apples and oranges, but most people don't realize that because they haven't looked at it. All I'm looking for is a way that we can find the funds to help pay for what an animal control officer or animal control to help Herbie whenever he's got so many cats that needs it repaired. We need to figure out a good way to be able to finance animal control. And right now, like I said, we have funds right now, but that could disappear quickly. So I'm looking at ways to try to figure out that's going to be soft on the community. And obviously, the county option dog tax was a maximum of $5 per dog. So we're not talking about a huge amount of money, other than the word, when you use the word tax and fiscal body, everybody tightens up. So I'm not trying to push the issues, but Chris, and you guys, especially you were involved when this all came about 10 years ago.
Right.
And
and that was the only reason why Section 2 was, because we were under the impression that it was all hinged on the county option dog tax. Now, if that's not correct, then maybe we can open it up again.
Well, yeah, but if you look in Section 4, or if you look at it, you'll see it's separated, and that's because it's licensing systems. That's the wording stated in the title licensing systems. So you can actually have other things that are that were still in there, but all of Section 2 was eliminated. And there are going to be arguments on that part of Section 2, because now we're talking about kennel license. And obviously, anybody that's obviously like the coon hunters, they don't like to hear the word kennel license, but so they should be involved in getting, in these discussions. But we've got to figure out a way
I mean, I
to
would
be
support a kennel license if we can do it legally. I mean, but we have to find that out. for
right.
sure.
Well, that's apples and oranges, but Chris would probably be able, to look at that closer. So, do you mind again if I talk to Chris personally about that? Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. That's all I wanted to say is that, and like I said, I'm looking for people to volunteer to try to do these things to help with the shelter on this outside. So we're going forward with that, okay?
And I have 2 cats, and I'd be willing to pay $5 each, because I love them, and I take care of them. And most people would.
Oh, hold it. Can't do that.
Andrea, that's a dog tax. Your cats are not covered under that,
Well, if
but
I had
Okay.
2 dogs.
I believe you.
If
But-
I had 2
I believe a lot
dogs,
of people would too.
I would be willing
yes, but
to pay for them, because when you love them, they're like your children.
yes.
And people shouldn't be so stupid sometimes.
Well, that's what I mean is that's the difference.
Don't laugh at me.
Because I can't remember things anymore.
With you.
Truth's truth.
And here's something else people don't realize.
Uh-huh.
The permit section is dog and cats. Okay?
Why not?
That's that makes the difference, because we got a
A
lot.
lot of people wouldn't be gathering
Th-
enough.
there's a difference. A lot of people are saying, wait a minute, well, what about these cat people? Well, this makes it fair, because
That's right.
because permits covers dogs and cats,
Right.
as opposed to
Can
license.
we discuss this with
Oh,
the municipal body?
yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah, oh, I want
I don't
to.
want to cut you, I'm just saying this discussion needs to happen
Yes,
with the council
yes.
also.
I just wanted to clarify so she knew that the difference between the licensing
Okay,
is
well,
on.
we'll look into that.
Okay.
Thank you.
See, Tom.
Call me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, next thing on the agenda is the dispatch service update. I know this has been on the minds of a lot of people, and including government, local government, both sides. We've had, well, starting in May, there was meetings with the physical bodies on the dispatch costs, and those issues were worked out. Fact of the matter, it took a little while for to work out the funding mechanism, and that was worked out. That the council changed the lit tax structure, so there would be funds available to pay what Tell City was asked for to continue with the dispatch services. It also, then it brought up that the contracts in the past, expired in 2021, the last one did, the last one's a 5-year contract. There was a lot of details in it that wasn't spelled out, which led to a lot of questions that needed to be answered by the state and others. There've been a few meetings about the contract, back and forth, and all until the last one left with questions to be answered. So those questions were answered, and Friday morning, myself, Chris Cale, the mayor of Tell City, Derek Llewellyn, the chief of police of Tell City, Roger Smith, the assistant chief who's over dispatch, and Steve Hauser, our 911 coordinator. We all met and hashed out the rest of the details after we got clarification from the state on what we could do. And basically what Ed Ryder, is that the way to pronounce him? Correspondence back is that with Indiana being a home rule state, that they do not enforce, the state will not enforce, regulate, or approve any contracts. It's whatever the interlocal agreements are. And that the fact that the 911 funds go to the county, and the county disperses them out how they see fit. The question came up with the term PSAP. One side of it is that it's a physical place that, that does the answering the 911 calls and dispatching out the services. The other part of it too, that all of the stuff that the county has provided over the years and still provides to be able to do that is part of being the PSAP. So with that said, the agreement, and it was unanimous agreement, everyone in the room completely agreed with what we should do, is that we should combine resources, and this was actually written by Roger Smith, and I'll give him, because I like the way he read it. He goes, whereas the County of Perry County and the City of Tell City agree to combine resources in order to provide a joint PSAP, public safety answering point, therefore agree that the primary PSAP site will be located at 707 Mozart in Tell City, and the backup PSAP site will be located at 3214 Tell Street, Indiana, which is the Armory. So it is a joint effort, which I commend everybody involved, that we are utilizing all of the resources that we have available, and that includes the dispatch center network and personnel and everything that goes with that. And I've said all along, it would be a crying shame if we couldn't utilize that. But on the flip side of it too, all of the things that the county provides, which is the 911 equipment, always has, the radios, the 911 answering equipment. As a lot of people don't realize, when you call 911, it doesn't go directly to the dispatch center. It goes out in Colorado at the call center. It's put together with all the information that the county has with the mapping, the screens are all developed, and then that goes straight to, the dispatch center along with the call. And then the dispatchers answer the call, and they've got this information available to them, which helps them do their job. And it's enhanced 911 and not pure 911. Pure 911 was before the 1990. 1990 it started out the efforts to go enhance 911. So it's not just a phone call that can't be traced and you don't know what's going on. And I see Renee's here, and I don't want to call you out, but you know, you can consider how hard it would be to do your job if you didn't have all those tools in front of you.
Right.
Yeah. So with that said, and everybody's proud of what they do, and for good reason. We've had a good thing going on for all these years, except for we haven't defined the funding as much as what we should have. And it's not just our problem. Statewide, the 911 and other sources funds dispatch average of maybe 40%. So it's not just our fault. It's you know, it lacks state funding. So hopefully that'll get to that. The highlights of the agreement, and this, once we come to this agreement, we send it to Chris Gothner, the county attorney, Jeff Haggerty, the city attorney, and they work together to make sure that it's all legal, and it's been sent out to the prospective elected officials to review. The highlights of it is that, like I said, the joint PSAP, that both will provide vital components for the 24/7 operation. The budget will be adopted at a workshop with both councils, both fiscal bodies. Will adopt the yearly budget. So it's not just, you know, Tell City gets what Perry County says that they'll give them. It is a joint effort. There is an advisory committee. An advisory committee is comprised of 2 from the county, 2 from Tell City, 1 from Cannleton, and 1 from Troy, and then the 911 coordinator will sit on that council. The advisory committee has to be a public service person, with an agency who routinely gets dispatched to emergencies. And it cannot be an elected official. So the elected officials will appoint person, but not themselves. The county will be responsible for all the other entities such as Cannleton and Troy and all the other fire departments outside of Tell City. The county will enter interlocal agreements with those entities. It also states that Tell City will be the primary dispatch center and the county will be the secondary center. So we can continue to utilize what's in place. The dispatch center, the dispatch personnel, and that Tell City Police Department will oversee the personnel. So they will still be, all the dispatchers in the primary dispatch center will be, continue to be Tell City employees, or Tell City Police employees. The secondary dispatch center will be set up that the dispatcher can just get in a car and drive to the second site and just go to work. Sign on and go to work. Same screen, same everything. Operate the same way. That's one thing we didn't have before.
So that'll be updated then?
Yes, it will be, yes. And Steve, you want to reiterate on what's going on with that?
What was the question?
The backup center will be updated and up to par as
Yes.
to what it is in dispatch?
Yes, and we had discussed there Friday that we're going to look at, go ahead and making the CAD active there and look at the IDAX. We want to mirror everything so we don't have what we had during COVID,
Right,
where we had to make shift on these other ones.
right.
That is something that Derek actually suggested.
Yeah,
We
big
go ahead and have
violation,
all
that
of
yeah,
those.
I get that,
Yeah, and that's a lot more cost effective than trying to have another
yeah.
Yes.
CAD system. And now there was some discussion, and right now that the secondary one will be at the Armory, and we had discussed at the sheriff's office, but that can be changed if we need to. Right now it's going to be at the Armory, but the goal is that, say, if something happened, the flood wall breaks and it floods that down there. Well, I mean, it can happen. Then you just get in your car and you go to the Armory and you're looking at the same thing basically as what you're looking at, and all the things are operating the same. So we can continue dispatch with the least amount of interruption as possible. Also, if things really get tense, and there's two dispatchers and two dispatch consoles at Tell City. If we need a third dispatcher for something that's just, then it'll be like they're sitting next to you. So
What about the North Station? Is that even workable for a backup?
Yes, it is. Yes, it would be. Still
But the
could
key
be,
is-
still has radio.
Well, I know it has the old equipment. Are you gonna update that too? Or are we just gonna keep it as that one, just
At this point,
for an
keep that as it
emergency?
is. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, because it would be a major.
Right,
To
something
have
that really has to go on.
three,
Right,
our goal is we'll get two.
Right.
I'm not saying down the road it won't happen, but, yeah, I mean, if bomb hits and wipes out entire Tell City, then.
we're
yeah.
taking it back old school at the North Station.
Right.
At what cost is this gonna, that's what I was getting this.
It's already been budgeted. The cost was, what was it? It was,
For the radio system?
yeah, the upgrade, which is
That's
already in progress.
That's already been approved. We may be looking at a CAD cost. I think Derek was mentioned somewhere around 9 or 10.
9 or 10,000 for the CAD cost.
Yes.
And that money's coming from where? Where's that money coming from?
911.
Oh, from the
Statewide.
Mhm. Yeah, the statewide
Do you have a
911.
date, did you think it's gonna be feasible to this all come together? Do you have a?
January 1st.
January first, okay.
Yes, because the old contract ends December 31st.
Assuming it's approved.
Yeah, assuming it's approved. And, so, like we made the statement before, and I'd say we, I'm talking about myself and Chris Kell, the general public won't see any interruption at all. And actually, now that we've come to an agreement, the dispatchers won't. Or the emergency services, whether it be police, fire, EMS, or whoever, it'll be seamless. I mean, it'll just continue on. I mean, and I know there was a lot of discussion. This can may have been kicked down the road for many years, but we decided we were going to stop it. And this hopefully is a contract that will last for many years. The termination of it is basically only can be terminated with notice by either party to the other one 6 months in advance. So it goes on unless there's 6 months notice. Also, any changes in this agreement has to be agreed upon by both parties. Is there any other legal?
No, that's pretty much it.
Pretty much it. And we didn't have to utilize another firm, to come in and solve this, which I think is a good thing. Chris and Jeff are in the same practice, which this then doesn't make it a conflict because they're both.
Our advice to the city and county was, y'all work it out and we'll make sure you did it right. I mean, in other words.
That it's legal.
That it's legal, that's right. But if there's a fight, we can't get involved, and.
They haven't.
They hadn't. They were able to work it out. It just took time, which when you're making this big of a change in the way things have been done for however heck many years it's been.
Yeah, I
30
know
years or
there's
whatever
little
it's been.
changes along the way.
But this was a pretty significant change, and at the end of the day, the long story short is that the city and county councils each have to agree to things based upon recommendations from this advisory committee. So it should be a smooth process.
Hopefully it is, with equal representation.
That's right.
On the advisory. The power of budget remains in the hands of both councils. We as commissioners cannot change that. We can't give it to somebody else by law. I mean, they are the physical body. Hopefully that there'll be state legislation which increases the amount of 911 funds available, and that 40% funded goes to closer to 100%. Then it lessens the burden on everybody involved. Since the budget has to be approved by both councils every year, so if there's a change in funding from the state level, then that'll be reflected on the yearly budget sessions. So hopefully the goal is that it's funded more by the state. The council did adopt, like I said, the county council did adopt a change in the lit, which takes effect January 1. So this fix to this, hopefully starting January 1 and move forward. And hopefully we can have enough of the joint advisory committee that these things are addressed. We believe this is as solid as possible. I'm talking about both sides. Both sides were in total agreement. But once you get into it, then maybe next year somebody may come up and say, you know what, we forgot about this. So I'm proud of everybody involved. I'm very glad they did. We also discussed that Chris Cale was going to announce this at tonight's Board of Public Works meeting. Basically the same statement that I'm giving, and that we have a joint meeting between the Board of Public Works of Tell City and the county commissioners to adopt this at the same time, and at that time then we can, address anything that comes up. Hopefully it doesn't. We've been beating this back and forth for months, so hopefully there's no more issues come up. I don't believe that the contract is complete enough to ask for a vote, but open any discussion with either one of the commissioners at this time.
So just to clarify, you said that the cost for the updates out of the annex, that it was budgeted, but what you meant was estimated, right? Because